As you're working within the Crosstracks platform, one of the most important areas to set up is your invoice and expense items. In order to get there, click on Settings, and then under the Billing and Invoice section, click on Invoice and Expense Items. That's going to bring you to a list of all the services that you conduct investigations on. Now, the client rate in this column is the rate that you bill the client. The investigator rate is the rate you pay an investigator to do those types of investigations. Now, these are standard rates. You can customize these rates for the investigators and the clients in their individual profiles. So think of this as if you send a price sheet out to your prospects that you're hoping to do business with. These are the rates that you would put on there. Now, your standard rate may be $150 each or an hour, but you can charge more or less to certain clients and publish those rates within the Crosstracks platform. So as I mentioned before, these rates here at Settings and Invoice Expense Items are just your standard published rates. Some people call them list rates. So once you get to the Invoice and Expense Items screen, you can see these are filled out. This is a demo account, so we add different ones. You can search for an item, like let's say I want to search for all of my database related expense items. You can click in there and then click search, and you have the ability to edit and delete. So let's add a new invoice item, and we'll go over that screen real quick. Then what we'll do is we'll go into the cases and into the clients and the investigators and see how all these tie together. To add a new invoice item, click on that Add New as we just did, and then up top here you have your client rate. Again, that's the rate that you're going to charge the client as a standard. If you want to add a tax rate, you certainly can if it's applicable. Here's again is your investigator rate. That's the rate you're going to pay the investigator for that service. You fill that out, you click Submit, and that'll be added into the system. Now, if you have different rates for different clients, you click on Clients, Client List, then you're going to see a $sign on the right-hand side of the list. That's going to be where you go to manage the client rates. If you click on that, you'll see all the items from the invoice and expense item list are in here. Let's say you want to charge this client $400 instead of $375. These are your standard rates. You want to charge this client more. You go in, enter the rate, and hit the check mark. And then it's going to ask you if you want to apply this rate to any open cases. And you can click yes or no. I'm going to go okay. Now, my rate for this client for an asset investigation is $400. My standard rate is $375. Same thing applies to an investigator, and what we'll do is we'll do the same and we'll work off of this asset search. So I'm going to go to the investigators list, click on investigators and then list in the left navigation bar. I'm going to click on the investigator's profile. That's going to open up all the information about that particular investigator. The second tab here at the top is Manage Rates. That's going to bring us to the screen again with a list of all of our invoice and expense items. With this one, this asset search here at the top, I currently don't have a rate for investigators in my list. So this particular investigator, I'm going to give him $100 per asset search, and now that'll be his rate. Now, how does this tie into a case? I'm going to click over here to a case, and as you can see, I've clicked on the Billing and Expense tab, and we have these items. These tabs are the investigators. So the asset search, we're paying this investigator $35 for asset searches. These costs and units, these are what are drawn from the invoice and expense items that we just changed. Same thing, here's another investigator. We're paying him $45 an hour for that. Go over here to the client tab. All of these rates here are all the rates that are being pulled from our invoice and expense items list and the rates that we've put in there. The next tab over is the invoice. Those are a list of invoices that you've created. So just to recap, to set your standard rates for your investigations, you click on Settings and then click on Invoice and Expense Items over here under Billing and Invoices. That's going to bring you to your invoice and expense item list. These are the lists that you charge your clients and the rates that you pay your investigators. Remember, these are just standard rates. If you want to select specific rates for specific clients, you go over to Clients, then you click on the client list, and in that client list, find the client that you want to change their rates for, click on the $, and you can change those rates. If you want to customize the rates you pay different investigators, click on Investigators and then click on List. Click on the investigator's profile, and then that'll open up the profile. The second tab over is Manage Rates, and here you can customize the rates for each individual investigator and designate the rate you pay those for all your different services.